I have someone come into my office and they say, I've been drinking for the past 10 years and I need a detox. And I'm like, sure, we can detox you. So I spend 5-7 days detoxing. Terrence, let's call him Terrence. And he comes back about 3 weeks later and he says, I'm detoxed, but now what? And I said, Terrence, you have a problem here because look what you did with your life when you were drinking. And he happened to be a project manager. And I said, well, you were a project manager. You weren't too concerned about promotions. You showed up hungover for work every day. When you left work, you would stop at a gas station and get 2 beers before you even got home. When you got home, you were already drunk. And then you kept drinking until basically you fell asleep on the chair. And I said, and if you did call anyone you were drunk, you alienated yourself from your girlfriend. I mean, you were so consumed with drinking. You stopped all your hobbies. When you called your children, you were drunk, so they didn't want to speak to you. And you stopped all your hobbies, softball, bowling, your building of lamps, and so the fishing is stopped. So now let's look. You didn't travel anymore, and you really weren't too interested in work because you just showed up, you were irritable and hungover, and you never got promoted. Did you ever think in the past 10 years you didn't get promoted? You're on the same level you were 10 years ago? It's like when you started drinking, you forgot what life was about. Your purpose was to drink. You weren't making friends. You weren't even eating. When you came home and you bought the beers at the gas station on your way home, you wouldn't even eat dinner. So now look at all the free time you have. Your weekends, you woke up and drank the whole day till you passed out on Saturday and Sunday. He says, I never missed work. I said, you showed up for work and you went through the motions of life. And now you've been clean for a month. And what are you going to sit there at home and do what? Before you sat there and watched commercials and TV shows you didn't even like. Now what are you going to do? Well, I said to him, Terrence, you're going to have a life. You have no life. He goes, you're right. What should I do? I said, well, for starters, I think you need to get out of the house. I think you need to start making amends with your girlfriend who you just out of apathy stopped speaking with her. You stopped doing all your hobbies. I think you need to re-engage in life. Maybe start with the bowling league again. Maybe start with the softball league again. Maybe actually start talking to your children, not drunk. He goes, well, everyone is so mad at me. How am I going to do it? I said, I'll tell you how you're going to do it. You're going to do it one day at a time. He goes, it's been so long, I don't even know how to do it. I said, we'll work on that. We'll meet once a week and we'll discuss, how to socialize again, how to interact with people. Think about it. You were not interacting. You were just sort of blurting out orders at work, doing something you a long time ago should have moved on from, at a position you knew cold, and it was someone just going through something they have done so many times because you weren't promoted, and you weren't really talking to the workers. You were just irritable, hungover, and yelling at them, craving till you could go stop at the gas station. I said, you're going to have to start interacting with your children. You're going to have to start developing your life. And then Terrence says to me, I never realized how much my life was just drinking. I said, Terrence, to be quite truthful, either you were drinking or hungover. That was your life. And so I worked with him, and, sitting around is no good. I said, Terrence, you're going to have to keep busy because sitting around is not going to work. You're not going to be able to sit around anymore like you used to, because that's not entertaining. To sit around and just do nothing but sort of stare at the TV, you couldn't even remember what you were watching. You're going to have to get out. You're going to have to keep busy. And I said, what about physical fitness? You're a little bit out of shape. You've got that huge belly. You're drinking 15 to 20 beers a day. What about start cooking healthy meals again? What about actually going to the grocery store, buying groceries, cooking meals? What about showing up at the gym? And what about trying to get in shape? And what about engaging in activities where you socialize with people? Yes, you can meet with me, your therapist, once a week, but that's not enough. You're going to have to do more, and I think you're going to have to see where your relationship is with your girlfriend, and you have 2 daughters. Maybe you need to re-engage. He goes, you're right, and it's going to take time. And yes, you have to relearn the skills and have to relearn what it is to do things again. It brings to mind, I had another patient, Sherry, and I'm like, so Sherry, what's your situation? She says, well, I travel all over. And I said, that's real convenient for you. I detoxed her, and I said, but you travel all over avoiding anything to do with dating men, any hobbies, any friends, because you're always in a hotel room in some new city. She does coding, and every 3 to 4 weeks she's somewhere else, or she works from home. And she's always on the move, and conveniently, she's so good at her job, she can code while drinking. And eventually, this is going to catch up with you. What happens is you get to this point of, my life is empty. I have no significant other. I have no friends. I really have no social life. And what happens is, pretty much the people she was working for caught up with her and be like, your productivity was down. And when you're drinking, I don't think you have the insight to realize how impaired you really are. Without the checks and balances of talking to people and showing up for work, I said, you entered into a world of just constant drinking. She was drinking a little bit all day, every day. So she was always drunk. And there was no one there to tell her, hey, you have alcohol on your breath. What's going on? But she designed her life like that. And conveniently, she was able to arrange a life where she made enough money to keep her townhouse, travel all over, and always be drinking. And I said, maybe this job is not good for you. It enabled you to drink. You set up your lifestyle so you could drink. She's like, you're right. I have no one in my life to tell me not to drink. I said, convenient for you, isn't it? It allowed you to drink. No boyfriend, no friends, no commitments, no social events. You sort of isolated yourself, just doing your coding, either in hotel rooms or your townhouse, and having these brief interactions, either on the phone or maybe showing up for an hour a day at clients' houses. I said, Sherry, this lifestyle has to change, and I don't think it's good for you. You're totally alone. And at some point in someone's drinking history, they realize, I have created a life so I could drink. I had another patient, he was a bar drinker. Every day after work, and get this, he worked driving a huge truck. But every day after work, he would go to a bar, he would take an Uber, and he said, well, I've got a lot of friends at the bar. I said, do these friends drink with you? And I said, yes, I've been going to the same bar for 20 years. I said, have you ever done anything in those 20 years with people outside of this bar? And he said, no. We talk about it, but it never happens. So basically, it's about going to this bar, you sit in the same seat, and he's drinking 10, 15 drinks a day at the bar. I said, these are not your friends. I said, these are your drinking buddies. And all they do is encourage you to drink more. And nothing happens between you besides meeting up with them and drinking at the bar. And everyone making everyone else feel it's okay and it's normal. When all you were doing is encouraging each other to drink. And there was nothing in those relationships. So then I'm talking to him. And I said, in order to stop drinking and stop drinking, all 3 of these people, I said, you're going to have to change everything in your life because everything you do is wrong. How you eat, how you work. I said, even how you brush your teeth in the morning, how you get dressed. I said, from now on, because alcohol is so ubiquitous. It's everywhere in our culture. I said, pretty much after about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, you shouldn't be out. I would get up early, go to the gym, and you're not going to be able to go to parties where they serve alcohol. You're not going to be able to go on a boat ride where they just drink all day. Or you're not going to be able to go to a golf event where all they do is drink. You're not going to be able to be around people who just drink and sit at the bar and not drink. It's like going to McDonald's and not ordering French fries and a burger. You smell it, you see people eating it. You cannot put yourself in temptation. So you have to change your life. Everything has to change when you stop drinking. You cannot be around people who drink. You cannot go to events that drink. And you have to change your activities. And you have to change the time of day you do things, because night activities involve alcohol, early morning activities don't. And people who drink are not for you to be around. And you know who's who. If someone invites you to a July 4th party at 6 o'clock, you know it's going to involve drinking. I don't think you should go. If someone invites you to go do yoga in the morning or work out at the gym and get coffee, well, that doesn't involve drinking. Everything in your life has to change. And you start going to places where the food is important, not the alcohol. If you took alcohol out of the equation, would you go? And if the answer is no, then you should not go to that place when you stop drinking. I go over and over with people. They're like, I was invited to this party. I said, really? This party is going to be a bunch of 30-year-old people meeting on a Saturday night. What purpose is it going to serve besides drinking? Oh, I'm thinking about going on a boat ride. A boat ride on a Sunday afternoon, and they're going to be drinking. I don't think you should be trapped on a boat watching people drink. It's too tempting. Well, these people invited me out for dinner. I said, are they drinkers? Well, then you shouldn't go. My patient invited me out. Friend invited me out for lunch. But if that friend drinks, should you go? No. So you know when people are about drinking, and you know when they're not. Thank you.